Good evening. My name is Tori Smith, and a friend of mine from New Zealand brought something to my attention and asked me to do a quick DNA reading as far as what I thought. And this, there's a new document being sent out to basically everyone in the world. It's called the Global Peace Treaty. And I would like, as usual, I don't charge for sharing any of my psychic gifts. God has given me some pretty wonderful gifts. I'm able to see people's DNA and read information out of it. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful gift to have. And it also enables me, sometimes if I see a ship in the sky or a jet plane or whatever, I can pull up the DNA of the people on board and start reading information about them. And I would say most of the ships that we see in the sky are military craft. But there's a council, they're calling themselves the Eight Elders. And I want to share what I see in what's going on with this Global Peace Treaty. And I don't know, because I can barely operate computers. I wish I could get the document up. I'm sure maybe my friend can post it if there's a link to it, because I just have the document. I don't know where it came from, the link. But when you see this, you see a group of men who rape and murder children. Bill Clinton, who is Elizabeth Windsor's brother, and by her I mean the one called the Queen of England. Bill Clinton and Elizabeth Windsor were technically their half-brother and sister. Their father is Winston Churchill. And, the first thing right off the top, it was like, looking at this document, there was a section, the second page I think it was, they were talking about Earth's history. And it was basically, okay, we're going to blame everything on the good guys. Everything that we've done to contaminate this planet, we're going to blame on, the light, which is something you hear all the time. It's like, why is the Earth still on oil? Because Americans are addicted to gasoline, and they, their selfishness and greed, they have to have vehicles to drive to and from to work to pay taxes to an illegal corporation, which takes the money and immediately ships it off to the city of London. London City, not the city of London, London City, where all the money is basically stolen. This is why, last time I checked, we were like some kind of quadrillions of dollars in debt, like $12 quadrillion, which a quadrillion I think is 1,000 trillion. Well, they spent 17 trillion just on this underground network of lavish hotels and military bases and high-speed rail and everything, because their plan was to stop ascension. And they wanted to kill most of the people off in the same way they did in World War II in the Nazi concentration camps. And then once, the planet went through a process, they would move back to the surface and transform the planet into what they wanted to. But heaven has a different idea. We're going through ascension. It has been completed in the realm of cause. And once something is completed in this part of heaven, it has to manifest on the lower, lower dimensions, and we're in a lower dimension. And so, because one of the first things, like I said, one of the first things they said was, the Galactics came down and killed everybody in Atlantis and Lemuria. Okay, translation, the dark side infiltrated Atlantis and sunk the continent of Lemuria, and this was quite a while ago. And then they were, just like today, since all the people who back the dark side here on this planet have been arrested and or removed, now they're all fighting for control. There's an old expression, too many chiefs in the tribe. Well, they're all like, well, it's my turn. I'm the one who's going to take over. It's my turn to control this planet, which is so ridiculous. But what's the big deal about this Global Peace Treaty is it's part of an operation to get people to turn to the dark side. When, let's say you're a normal person of the light, and your sacred light may be 62%. Well, either you're tricked, or for one reason or another, you make a decision and decide to turn to the dark side. Perhaps it's to commit a crime, to steal money from somebody. Perhaps, you're on drugs or something and you just make a bad decision. Oh, maybe we'll rob a bank or whatever. Or, and there's so many people on this planet who rape children. They call it having sex with children. And, well, that takes your sacred light down to 0%. But if you're, let's say you're 62% sacred light, and you make the decision to join the dark side, well, immediately your sacred light falls to 37%. Why is it 37? I have no idea. That's just the way it is. That's a very, very common number, and that's what everybody falls to when they turn to the dark side. Maybe it's a fascination for Lucifer or Satan or whatever. There's a huge amount of reasons. But once the person either rapes and or murders somebody, or then they fall to 0, or sometimes people just denounce God. There was a woman online pretending to be a wonderful spiritual teacher and healer a couple years ago, and she was calling Jesus Christ a parasite. And, obviously her hatred for Jesus and other, beings like him, she lost all of her sacred light and she was down to 0. And, and it's funny how everybody was like, oh, well, really, is he? Well, maybe he is. You know what I mean? People, I have said over and over again, make an intent to connect to the truth. And not the truth of the dark side, because they don't have the truth. They lie constantly to everybody. Make an intent to know the truth of what's going on in the universe. I did that in 2008. I was so tired. It seemed like every time I turned on the TV, everybody was lying about everything. CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, they're all a bunch of filthy, low-life criminals constantly lying about everything, and they all are protecting the child trafficking operation. And so there's 8 elders. All 8 elders have 156 strands of DNA activated, and this is the maximum amount of strands of DNA the dark side can have, and they all have it. It didn't matter if they were an actor like Tom Cruise, a corporate president like Barack Obama or his wife Michelle Obama, 156. Satan, 156. Lucifer, 166. All the Dracos had 156. All the Draconian non-physicals that were arrested, 156. And for some reason, that was the cap that God allowed them to have. Now, that gave them a lot of special privileges over the years, but not anymore. Humans, normally, when we're fully conscious, have just a little over 1 million strands of DNA activated, and so do the galactic reptilians, the galactic amphibians, because almost all people in the Milky Way are benevolent people. And the galactics have 100% sacred light. We can't achieve that in this reality. 92% is the highest. And of these elders, 5 of them have 0% sacred light. And the other 3 have 37% sacred light, meaning they're all dark entities. The Earth is going through a process, and I'm being told that it's going to happen this summer, that the big shift between the 3rd dimension and the 5th dimension, the finalization of that will be this summer. And, either I got that accurate or I don't, one or the other. And, as soon as I know, though, I share with other people. Number 1, he's a CIA agent, and he's working out of the headquarters in Lake Geneva, which is on the France-Switzerland border. Elder number 2, who's a wise man. They're all like wise men here to give us spiritual advice. He's also a CIA agent, and he works in the headquarters of CIA. Again, at Lake Geneva. It's at CERN. It's real close to the Hadron Collider at CERN. Elder number 3 is an NSA agent, and he works out of Utah. Elder number 4 is an NSA agent, and he's working out of Washington, D.C. Elder number 5, he's a DARPA agent, and he's working out of Dulce military base, New Mexico-Colorado border. Elder number 6, he's got 37% sacred light. He's an FBI agent, and he works out of Chicago. Elder number 7, also 37%. He's an FBI agent that works out of Washington, D.C. And then Elder number 8 is also an FBI agent that works out of Washington, D.C. Now, what is this about? They're the global peace treaty, and we're going to start, the royals, that they're all really good people, and they're going to start negotiating this, and they're going to start doing this, and we're going to bring all these wonderful bloodlines together. That's bullshit. The royals have been raping and murdering children for years. Elizabeth Windsor, first of all, her trial's over and she no longer exists. She didn't show the slightest bit of remorse. And she was, I'm told over and over, responsible for the deaths of 75 million people, along with the Bush family and the Clinton family, although Clintons aren't only being blamed for, or they're responsible for, I think it was 7.1 million. But Bill Clinton, he has a very, very long history of murdering children that he raped. and also murdering women that he raped. And his wife, Hillary Clinton, has murdered, I think hers is total is 6.7 million people that she's being held accountable for murdering, and she also murders children in the My Lab child trafficking. They all murder children, all of them. And here they are once again pretending to be the heroes. They, I think it was officially took over this planet about 13,000 years ago. As far as I know, Lemuria began about 900,000 years ago, but that wasn't even the first sentient colony. There was one way before that. It was Hibernia, and that was about 4 million years ago. And I don't even know how long. It was like around for a really long time, and then, you know, the dark side came in and killed everybody off. But see, the Earth has, as far as I know, been in the fifth dimension and knocked out of that 3 times. And Hibernia, I'm pretty sure, was one of them. And where we had this wonderful galactic society on this planet, and in come the dark side, they killed everybody off, and the planet dropped, was plunged into hell, as they call it, because this is hell. And the quote that I got is, "This is a part of a desperate attempt to stop ascension," back to the Global Peace Treaty document. And they want to stop ascension this summer. And the only way they can stop it is to, and they believe, is to turn all the residents to the dark side, cause a massive, massive pain and suffering event, which they want to throw 98% of Americans into FEMA Nazi concentration camps and kill us all off. And then go around the world and kill everybody else off. And that's why all these reptilians keep coming in, because I hear it all the time, we came to feed off the humans. That's why all these reptilians, the dark side reptilians, are being brought in. They were being brought in from a few other star systems here in our galaxy, and they're all gone as far as I know. And then so they started bringing them in from other galaxies. We arrested 104 reptilians today. 104. This goes on every single day. It's like, does it ever stop? I'm like, oh my God. It's like, can you imagine? It's like holding a mop, and somebody comes in and spills a bucket of water, and as soon as you clean it up, somebody spills another bucket of water, and another, and another, and another, and you just keep mopping everything up, and you just want to scream, stop. But it doesn't. They just keep coming in. Because they're desperate to keep this. But see, also, what's happening is, which I'm told over and over again, is that everybody that has less than 51% sacred light has to leave the planet or they will die, because they can't handle the vibrational shift. And if you look back at our immediate history, all these things that have never been in the public eye before have all come to the surface. And there are so many wonderful spiritual teachers that can explain it far better than I can, because I tend to just read statistics and then, give my interpretation of that. I always say there's the truth, and then there's how we see the truth. But what I know to be true is because I'm participating in these arrests. And, so I see it. I participate in this. It happens every day. This has been going on since January of 2012 in my life. And I was exposed to My Lab child trafficking in January 2013. And there were 2 incidents that really stuck out. One is I was being raped, anal sodomy rape, while they murdered 54 children in the room. And another time they murdered 16 children in the room. And that was at a different location. And it was, so far beyond, I can't even tell you how horrific I can't even connect to the memory. I can't see it, because if I do, I'll have some kind of a seizure, and I'll flip out, and I'll start shaking really bad, and I'll just kind of zone out, and it takes me at least a half an hour to come back to reality, because it was so horrific. But that's the way most humans are. Most humans are not equipped to witness murder. And this is one of the reasons why they constantly show murder, especially to children in other video games, to condition people to get used to it. And another thing they've been doing is feeding humans, and all these children that are killed, most of them anyway, extremely high percentage, are then ground up into hamburger meat, and they're processed through the Cargill food processing plant in Minnesota. Well, actually, they have 3 locations. And McDonald's and Burger King are serving human meat. A lot of places. You can find all kinds of information. And once again, that's all you have to do is create an intent to know the truth. And you say, okay, there's this crazy guy on YouTube who's talking about child trafficking every day, but he keeps telling us, create an intent to know the truth. And you say, you know what? I want to know the truth about child trafficking. I want to know the truth about humans and our food. I want to know the truth about chemicals, about chemtrails, about all this stuff. And it will come to you. It really will come to you. Unless you're on the dark side, then, everybody lies to each other on the dark side. And, well, I'm sorry, my 15 minutes are up. But I wanted to tell you about what I see in this global peace treaty, because it's not a peace treaty, it is a trap. That's exactly what it is. It is nothing more than a trap, because they want your souls. They already have these machines that they're bringing in to try to get your souls again, because the old machines, well, not old, but the ones they were using before were destroyed and removed from this planet. But they keep replenishing all this stuff because they're absolutely desperate to hold on control. But it's not going to happen. Heaven says it's not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. And one more thing: if you feel that your sacred light is low, you know how the best way to raise that is to help other people with a pure heart. In other words, if you help somebody for the sake of helping their life become better, especially if they're pain and suffering, and especially if it's children, your sacred light will go way up. And I've seen people have gone up 4, 5, 6 percentage point just in a matter of moments. And why? It's because they decided, especially people like David Icke, who put his life on the line to do what he could to bring attention to child trafficking, to try to stop child trafficking. Kevin Annett is another. I just absolutely love him. His sacred light is 92%. Why? Because he's trying to stop people from raping and murdering children. And people attack him every day. It doesn't really take a genius to figure out who's on the light and who's on the dark. And but anyway, I love you, and I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just saying, here's another trap. They want your soul. It's called the Global Peace Treaty, and the men who are putting out and pretending they're called the elders are actually CIA, NSA, DARPA, and FBI agents. Gee, go figure. It always is the case. Anyway, I love you. Oh, and another thing. One of my favorite sayings is, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for working miracles through me and for me. And I really suggest you think about saying that too. Thank you, God, for working miracles through me and for me. God bless your hearts. Have a good night.